I'm John Kaiser at the Metals Investor Forum in Vancouver. It's September 7th, 2019. I'm here with David Hottman, CEO of Orestone Mining Corp. David, welcome to the Metals Investor Forum.
Thank you, John.
The Captain project that you presented today is very intriguing. It has had multiple exploration passes over the past decade, including a couple by your team when you took over Orestone in 2011. This target is what is different about this one? How did it elude all the work done by the predecessors and you, and suddenly become so visible and tantalizing as a high stakes type of exploration target?
That's a good question, John. The evolution really came in, or the change in the project really came in 2013. Up until that point, exploration had moved south from Mount Milligan, following geochemical anomalies and stream sediment samples and whatnot, attempting to find another porphyry over the last couple of decades. What changed in 2013 is that we were drilling a magnetic anomaly, which is the model at Mount Milligan, and we found a xenolith, or a fragment of monzonite porphyry, which was very, very different than anything we'd seen on the property to date. And since that time, it just really changed our thinking about what the potential for the project was. And also is very gold rich, almost 2 grams a ton gold.
So the target with its substantial IP anomaly and the chemistry of the xenolith, I've heard you mention in a conversation we had before that this resembles more the Red Chris type of porphyry system rather than the Mount Milligan type of system. Can you elaborate on that and the implications that if this target does turn out to be a Red Chris type of a system?
Yeah. Yes, it's petrography and analysis of the core indicate that it's a calc-alkalic porphyry. Which they can be or tend to be like Cadia Ridgeway in Australia or the Red Chris here in BC. They can be gold rich and have very significant both size as well as grade parameters to them. And so that's also something that came out of that 2013 drilling, the whole evolution of this xenolith and the metallurgy that went into, or the analysis of that, really changed our thinking. And IP, as you mentioned, that has really developed the current size of target that we're now looking at. And that's all since that xenolith was drilled in 2013.
Well, I hope the drills turn up what we're looking for over the next few weeks. Right now we're all in limbo waiting, but in case it doesn't, you've already got your sights set on the Resguardo project in Chile, and it's quite intriguing. It's a sort of small-scale copper skarn mine operated by local owner, but you're not interested in that mineralization. You're interested in a big porphyry sulfide target somehow associated with this, with the old skarn workings. How is it that, given how much exploration has been done in Chile, that this target is available for a little 11-cent junior to get hold of?
Right. The previous mining was done earlier this century, in 2004, 5, 6. There was a reduction in exploration in the country based on more socialist-leaning governments, and that has really started to change. And that's when we started to look at the opportunities down there. In the interim, a large IP anomaly had been discovered or indicated below those previous workings. And I might add that the previous mining was not only in skarns, but in breccias and some mantos as well. And all of those styles of mineralization take a big heat pump plumbing system to be able to form them. Lots of solutions, lots of heat, and that's a big intrusive. So where did they come from? The IP anomaly is where we believe that has come from, right underneath and slightly offsetting where the previous mining took place.
And the program that you plan for the Resguardo target, assuming the IP survey that you have just done to expand the coverage continues to show that this is an excellent target. How big will the initial program need to be to tell you whether there is or isn't something there? And when would you hope to do this drill program?
We would hope to do the drill program prior to the end of the year. In terms of order of magnitude, we're taking the approach that we want to drill into this big proposed intrusive or porphyry using RC drilling because it's relatively close to surface. We'll put in 1,000 or 2,000 meters and probe it. And the most interesting thing that can happen out of that is that we get copper and gold mineralization. We don't have to hit ore grade. We just need an indication that this is a mineralized body.
And the scale of it is large enough that if you start getting mineralization in a part of it, you know you're going to have to continue with this project.
That's right. And in terms of the current geophysical program, we're seeing the target getting substantially larger, and we're getting a lot more definition on it with the additional information. So it'll help target our drilling, but also our optimism is going up just based on what we're seeing in those geophysics.
Now, in countries like Peru, we often hear these problems of local villages and that opposing any development in their backyard. What does the sort of social license look like in the Resguardo area?
There is one small farmhouse within 50, 70 kilometers of the project. Yeah, it's a rock-strewn desert at 10,000 feet. I mean, there's virtually no plant or animal life, and it's just a rock-strewn desert. It is within an hour or 100 kilometers of a major metropolitan area. That area does have some agriculture, but it's primarily a mining center and supply depot and people, consulting companies, everything to do with mining.
Now, one of the big issues with the Caspiche project, which is to the south of where your project is, was to secure water in order to mine and process the ore. What is the water situation like in the Resguardo area?
We don't know yet. At Caspiche, they did find a lot of water, and the same at Aldebaran. Finding water is different than getting permission to use water. And so obviously, like Newmont and Barrick will need to deal with getting those water rights. In the old days, in the past, when we were with Bema Gold, we secured a substantial amount of water rights, which helped us to be able to develop a mine up in that area. So I believe water rights are available, but that certainly will be an issue after a discovery is made.
Now, Mother Nature has a habit of being very cruel, regardless of how fantastic the target looks. If you had the bad luck of both the captain and the Resguardo not delivering results that justify further work, what sort of plan C does the current group that's been reassembled have in mind for the company?
Well, each of the projects has a drill-ready target on them. There are additional targets that can be developed, and the important thing is that you're in areas where there are large porphyries, large deposits, large mines. So just because one target on a property doesn't work out, it doesn't mean that the second target on that same property won't work out. And so our plan would be to evaluate the properties and develop the secondary targets. And the only reason they're secondary is because they haven't had as much exploration work. We could develop more targets before we drill tested anything, but it's more important to us with the scarcity of capital, as you know, in this market environment, to spend the dollars that we can in trying to make a difference by drilling and making a good discovery. Wealth is created at the end of the drill bit.
Now, we are still in a bear market. Raising money for anything, especially discovery exploration, is still a struggle. But suppose the predictions by various people, such as myself, that we're heading into a major gold repricing, $2,000 plus, and then finally everybody comes off the sidelines. Given all the experience your team, your group has had in the resource sector, if suddenly it became easy to raise money, what do you guys have in the back of your sort of things are you looking at that you know you could move on when the climate of this market has changed?
Right. There are other projects that have substantial targets, or at least early stage looking targets on them that would be similar to what we are dealing with in Chile, that we would be encouraged to chase with the access to capital. We're not intending on putting anything into production. These are $1 billion. If we discover something, they're obviously $1 billion capex projects. So we'll push a project forward, and if we have an upwardly moving or biased precious metals market, as you say, then that'll just drive the stock higher with discovery.
Well, here's hoping that the Admiral target delivers a discovery hole over the next few weeks, which will make it easy for you to raise money to continue drilling Admiral, as well as beef up the treasury for the Resguardo work that will happen afterwards. I've been talking with David Hopman of Orestone Mining Corp. Thank you, David.
Thank you, John. It's been a pleasure.